Before the Great American Getaway 400 even started at Pocono Raceway, the NASCAR Cup Series garage was already dealing with a major controversy. Kyle Larson's number 5 Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet failed NASCAR pre-race inspection twice on Saturday, and the penalties that followed immediately changed the entire outlook for one of the most watched teams in the sport. Car chief Jesse Saunders was ejected from the track for the remainder of the race weekend. On top of that, the number 5 team lost its pit stall selection for the entire weekend, which at a track like Pocono Raceway, where strategy, execution, and track position decide outcomes, is an enormous disadvantage before a single green flag lap is even turned. Larson's number 5 Chevrolet and Daniel Dye's number 78 car both failed inspection twice before finally passing on their third attempt. Because both teams failed on 2 attempts, NASCAR required them to forfeit pit stall selection for Sunday's race. The personnel consequences hit even harder for Larson's team, losing Jesse Saunders, a key decision-maker who plays a central role in race day operations. This forced Hendrick Motorsports to restructure their entire approach heading into one of the most demanding races on the schedule. Over at the number 78 Live Fast Motorsports, entry driven by Daniel Dye, making just his second career Cup Series start, engineer Chris Stanley was also ejected for the rest of the weekend, leaving that team equally short-handed in critical moments. Inspection penalties have become a recurring theme throughout the 2026 NASCAR season as teams continue searching for every possible competitive edge. At Pocono, that pursuit can be especially aggressive. The 2.5-mile tricky triangle features 3 distinctly different corners, forcing teams to compromise on setup and making track position a critical factor throughout the race. Every small advantage matters at a track this unique, and teams routinely push the boundaries of what NASCAR will allow in inspection because the payoff in race performance can be significant. For Larson's number 5 team, the timing of this setback could not have been worse. With only 10 races remaining before the 16-driver chase field is set and the playoff picture tightening every single week, this was not the kind of Saturday any championship contender wanted. Real quick, if you are the kind of NASCAR fan who actually wants the honest version of these stories instead of the recycled headline takes, hit that subscribe button. This channel is brand new, and we are looking to grow our community of real fans who see what the mainstream media misses. Every single one of you matters. Despite all of that chaos, here is where the story gets remarkable. The speed was still there for Kyle Larson. During practice on Saturday, Larson topped the speed charts with a lap of 170.77 mph around the 2.5-mile tricky triangle. He was not just fastest in single-lap speed. He also led the field in 10-lap average speed, which is consistently regarded as the better indicator of actual race-winning pace. Long-run speed matters far more than one fast lap in qualifying, and Larson had both. Then came qualifying. Even after all the inspection drama, Larson backed up that speed by posting the second fastest lap, earning a front-row starting position for Sunday's race. That result told everyone watching that the penalties created adversity, but they did nothing to slow the actual performance of the car itself. On race day, Larson ran at the front immediately, grabbing the lead off the opening start and packing the field for the first 24 laps of the event. He led laps in Stage 1 and showed the kind of long-run pace that made him one of the legitimate contenders throughout the afternoon. By the checkered flag, Larson finished 5th despite the lost pit stall selection, the ejection of his car chief, and every pre-race obstacle Hendrick Motorsports faced going into Sunday. The 5th place result in the middle of one of the most disruptive pre-race weekends the number 5 team has had all season is a statement about just how strong that organization remains in the 2026 Cup Series. But while everyone was following the Larson drama, another story was unfolding on the racetrack that completely took over the conversation. Denny Hamlin did it again, and at this point, the question the rest of the field has to be asking is simple: who is going to stop this man? Hamlin captured his 3rd consecutive victory by winning the Great American Getaway 400 at Pocono Raceway, holding off the number 45 23XI Racing Toyota of Tyler Reddick by 1.678 seconds in a dramatic fuel-saving finish to the checkered flag. The victory marks the first time in his 21-year full-time career that Hamlin has won 3 consecutive races at Nashville, Michigan, and now Pocono, back to back to back. Hamlin now stands at 64 career Cup Series wins, passing the late Kyle Busch for sole possession of 9th place on the sport's all-time wins list. This is a number that puts him in a category of legends, drivers who have spent decades building win totals that define their legacies. The fact that Hamlin passed Kyle Busch, his former Joe Gibbs Racing teammate who passed away unexpectedly last month, adds an emotional weight to this milestone that goes far beyond statistics. This is also Hamlin's record 8th career Cup Series win at Pocono Raceway, making him the most successful driver in the history of the Tricky Triangle. The historical significance runs even deeper. Hamlin joined Hall of Famers Richard Petty, 1966-67, Bobby Allison, 1971, and Darrell Waltrip, 1981, as the only drivers in NASCAR history to win 3 straight Cup Series races from the pole position. That is company that needs no introduction. 3 legends, 3 separate eras, and now Denny Hamlin in 2026 at 45 years old standing alongside all of them. He also effectively won 4 of his last 5 events, counting the non-points All-Star race at Dover, making this the hottest stretch of his entire career. What makes this streak even harder to believe is the adversity Hamlin had to overcome to build it. At Nashville, he had to fight back from a jump start penalty. At Michigan, he dealt with penalties stemming from unapproved adjustments from practice and again had to charge through the field. In both races, he came from the back and still found a way to win. At Pocono, he started from the pole, but the race was far from a cruise. Larson grabbed the lead immediately at the start and ran the opening 24 laps. Hamlin tracked him down with superior long-run pace and passed him with 6 laps remaining in Stage 1, claiming that segment win. He then slipped to 9th in Stage 2, which was won by Todd Gilliland of Front Row Motorsports in a fuel strategy gamble that delivered the first career stage win of Gilliland's Cup Series career. In the final stage, Hamlin had to work his way back through traffic, moving from 6th to 2nd on restarts, then from 2nd to 1st. "I got to go past 7 cars. It's not easy to pass here," Hamlin said after the race, but the crew chief, Chris Gabehart, had faith that we could do it, that we could get the restarts we needed. There were a few key ones that I gained going from 6th place to 2nd and then from 2nd to 1st. From that point on, we got control of the race. Once he took the lead, the race was effectively over. He led 28 laps total and controlled everything from the front. After the race, Hamlin reflected on what this moment means. "My first win was here in 2006. It's just so special here," he said. "This is a team effort. They've given me fast cars. The pit crew is flawless right now. We've just got it all going." And when asked about the team's current confidence level, Hamlin was direct. "I'd say it's certainly the best we've been. We come to the racetrack every week knowing that we've got a great shot to win. The team is doing an amazing job, knowing exactly what I need in the car every week, and that's why we're winning." The championship picture shifted dramatically with this result. Reddick's once triple-digit points lead atop the NASCAR Cup Series standings has been slashed all the way down to just 19 points over Hamlin, the smallest margin at the top of the standings all season. Reddick now has 704 points to Hamlin's 685, with only 10 regular season races remaining to lock in the 16-driver chase field. "It's a bummer," Reddick conceded after finishing 2nd. "We definitely lost time in a couple spots there. Some of it is everyone's racing hard for track position, and some of it is just bad luck, I guess. Just work catch cars. We knew qualifying was going to be tricky coming into this, and just weren't able to get stage points. Scoring the points we did just didn't get the job done. There is one more layer of irony to this entire situation that cannot be overlooked. Denny Hamlin co-owns Reddick's 23XI racing team alongside NBA legend Michael Jordan. He is essentially cutting his own driver's points lead every week he wins. It is one of the most unusual dynamics in the history of professional motorsport, and it is playing out at the absolute highest level of competition in real time. Now the other major story from Pocono, and this one stings. Christopher Bell entered Sunday's race nursing a fractured left wrist he suffered in a vicious crash at Michigan International Speedway just 1 week earlier. Brandon Jones was on standby if Bell needed relief, but Bell completed all 400 miles. The wrist held up reasonably well in clean air, but Bell was honest about the limitations it created. Certainly any sort of adverse conditions, like whenever I banged with the 21 or whoever getting into turn 3, and then they wrecked in front of me I just don't really have the ability to make sharp, quick corrections to the car, Bell explained. Whenever I run by myself and we got single-filed out, I felt like it didn't bother me, but I certainly think it affected our restarts. With the number 20 team running deep in the field for most of the afternoon, crew chief Adam Stevens made a bold call. Stevens pitted Bell at lap 107 of 160, attempting to stretch the fuel tank from an estimated 42-lap window to a massive 53-lap run to the finish. More than 10 laps beyond what the fuel number suggested was achievable. As the pit stop cycled through, Bell suddenly found himself leading Hamlin by more than 11 seconds with 21 laps remaining, driving in conservation mode with the entire Pocono crowd watching what looked like a miracle in the making. Obviously, when they start telling me that we're getting good gas mileage and we are in a good position, I'm starting to get excited in there, Bell said. But Hamlin was coming, and there was nothing Bell could do about it without burning fuel he did not have. Hamlin closed the gap, past Bell with 4 laps remaining, and then coming to the white flag with 1 lap to go, Bell's number 20 Toyota sputtered off turn 3 and ran completely dry. 1 lap away, he dropped from potential race winner all the way to 26th place, the next to last car on the lead lap. We were mired back in the 20s, so I think it was an amazing call, Bell said of the gamble, calling the calculated risk worth it. Stevens did not sugarcoat the result. We just sucked all day, and we were going to run 18th to 25th, and that opportunity presented itself. It was worth a shot, just a lap and a quarter short. The gamble dropped Bell 11 points off his cushion over the cut line. He still holds a 70-point advantage over Brad Keselowski, who sits as the first driver outside the 16-driver chase grid, but that buffer is shrinking. And the pattern from the last 2 weeks is brutal. 31st at Michigan due to the crash, 26th at Pocono due to fuel, 2 strong cars, 2 devastating results. One team that had nothing but good news to take away from Pocono was Legacy Motor Club. John Hunter Nemechek put together one of the strongest performances of his Cup Series career, leading a race-high 42 laps, more laps than he led in either the entire 2024 or 2025 seasons combined, and bringing home a 4th-place finish, the best result of his 2026 season. It gives us solidification that we are working in the right direction. I don't know if we've necessarily had that type of day at Legacy Motor Club yet, Nemechek said. Teammate Erik Jones finished 6th and moved above the playoff cut line with his 2nd consecutive top 10 finish. Together, the 2 legacy cars gave the organization something it has been building toward, not just speed, but the execution to match it. Looking at the full top 10, Hamlin, Reddick, Byron, Nemechek, Larson, Jones, Buescher, Chastain, Ty Gibbs, and Ryan Blaney. Further back in the standings picture, Shane Van Gisbergen sits 14th, just 10 points clear of 17th place Brad Keselowski. Erik Jones and Austin Cindric are 15th and 16th, both just 4 points above the cut line. And Joey Logano sits 21 points outside the top 16, staring at a shrinking window to get himself into the playoffs. The next race is the inaugural Annual 250 at the Qualcomm Circuit on Naval Base Coronado in San Diego, California, airing June 21st at 4 p.m. ET on Prime Video. And every single point is going to matter more than it did the week before. The 2026 NASCAR Cup Series season has reached the point where every weekend is a turning point. The Larson inspection drama proved that even the strongest teams in the garage are not untouchable when it comes to NASCAR's rules enforcement. Denny Hamlin's 3 consecutive wins have fundamentally changed the championship conversation. Christopher Bell's heartbreak at the white flag showed just how brutal this sport can be when you are already fighting through pain and adversity. And Legacy Motor Club's breakout day is proof that the field continues to evolve, and the competition is only going to get tighter from here.